Hello, welcome back to another episode of the 100 to 1 podcast. Myself, DJ Rex. Who else we got in the building today?
It's your boy Nams. We here again.
Yeah, Rosie, Rep BBK all day, you know what I'm saying? You already know.
With that said, let's start with how we got on with the midweeks and last week's bets, just for continuity's sake.
I'll go first. In the midweek, like my midweek slips, again, my BB formula seems to be, going all right. I focused on the Carabao Cups, with a sprinkle of Champions League and just other games. I like when I have a full spread. I like to cherry pick my games, man. I don't like to be under pressure, and I know when I'm forcing it, and I know like when I got the spread that I want. So I like the games. So yeah, I did a couple of slips basically. I haven't made any money. Didn't make any money this week, but I got cash outs worth about £400 that I let go. I had £80 here, £80 there, £250 there that I rolled out, and I've got another bet, as we discussed in the last session, recording, that is still in play for 426 now, basically. So it's halfway done. The next half is up next week. So in theory, I could have taken around 800 if I cashed out everything, 900. But because that one that's got the 400 and something was quite secure from early, I thought, you know what? Whatever happens, I should take something from that. So I let the others go. I thought, let me just gamble and let's see if any of those actually come all the way through. So just to briefly recap on a few slips, I think 3 slips got burnt by 1 game each that are spread across slips. So I think what happened was I had Southend to beat AFC Fylde, and so they were level for a while. And I thought like a Southend game would have completed a couple of slips, at least as far as that day had gone. They would have gone into the next day. And then another one, I had Fulham to win. Fulham ended up drawing, so they were level. So going into the sort of last 10 minutes, I was thinking, and then there was one slip that had both of them. So I was thinking, okay, I left all 3 of them, and I thought, look, if one of these guys get a winner, then at least I'll carry that slip. But I couldn't know which one would come through, so I left them all in play. Basically, none of them came through, so all of those 3 slips died. But the one that either of those games on it were still in play. So that's 6.5K. That will conclude at the Emirates on Wednesday, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Oh boy.
Just talking tactics though, do you think that's a decent tactic to like decent stake, couple matches, and then maybe like cash out the 50s, the 100s if people want to make like quick cash? Would you suggest that like maybe as a strategy moving forward, a young like 12-fold?
The thing is obviously it's each everybody's got to speak on their for their personal circumstances. I mean, any bet, even if it's for £1 million, any bet that you're offered £200, £300 on is going well. As far as that, as far as the stage that you're at is going okay. So you've got a decision to make. Ultimately, you take that money or leave or take the cash out, but you're potentially leaving a lot of money on the table. So my bets, as I said, they were staggered over a couple of days, over different match days. So I had one that I knew I was going to probably live to fight another day with. So because of that reassurance, I was under less pressure with the other 2. I thought, well, whatever happens, if these 2 die, if these 3 die, I got 1 slip basically out of today, which is I'll take that ratio. So I might as well gamble with that too, because if I was like 250 or nothing, I might have taken it. But so what that bet was, the one where I got offered, I think it was 257 was the peak cash out I got offered on, was I think I got 5 out of 7 in the end, and the other 2 I had Palace to win by 2 or more goals, and they won by 1 goal. So it was 2-1 to Palace, and I was obviously hoping for maybe 1 more Palace goal. And it was 2-1 with quite a bit of time to go. I think they scored the second goal, maybe 65th minute or something like that. So there was enough time for me to think, Palace get another one, this bet's in. And obviously Southend equalised against Fylde shortly after half-time. So that game was balanced as well, if Southend get a goal. So I thought at the very least, again, I might get one of these. Like Southend might go 2-1 up. That's it. And then I've got it's just left with Palace to get one more goal. The cash out, the whole bet was at 2,800. So I was thinking, if Southend get a goal, I must be in here at least 800-900, maybe to £1,000, like cash out at least. And if Palace get one, similarly, as long as it stays 1-1, but
yeah, I guess it's the gamble in it. Sometimes
gamble, but I guess it was a calculated risk, I'll say, because as I said, I was fortunate that I had one that looked like that was going to make it to the next day. So if that wasn't the case, I might have chosen differently. So each to their own. You got to weigh all the factors up.
I hear it. Nams, how'd you get on?
I think I did fouls in the first half, so I think I picked a couple players from each team. Didn't go too well, but like I said, it's the second time I've done it, but I am seeing a lot of potential in it, like, because when I go back and I look at the stats of the players, I'm thinking, oh man, that was so obvious. Like, so no, I'm not being scared off, not in the slightest. Like, I've tweaked it this week, so obviously we'll discuss that, later when we get to that segment. But no, I still think there's a lot of potential in this, players fouling in the first half, or even just certain players fouling, just one foul basically. So building an ACCA alongside that. So yeah, still early days, but I'm still looking at the stats, still quietly confident for sure.
Just quickly on that one, yeah. What are the odds like for just a player to register like 2 or more fouls in a game? Is there any value in doing something like that?
Yeah, it can be, but it depends on it, because you've got to be calculated about how you put your slip together. If you go for the very obvious offenders, the stats or the odds are going to be really, really poor, right? So you've got to kind of blend it in and mix it around a little bit.
Yeah, if you're going to win any meaningful money, any bet, at some point you're going to take a leap.
Yeah. But what I will kind of go through it later on. But what I've put together this time is I've got like a 6th and I've got like 3 players from each team, or 3 players in general in the game, just to commit 1 foul. And it's a mixture of some bait guys and some maybe not bait guys. But yeah, the odds are pretty good and the returns are really, really good as well. So yeah, I'm gonna trial this strategy and see how it go. But when you see the slip, yeah, it's not gonna be like outlandish. Like, you're gonna look at it, he's gonna think it kind of makes sense for you. So yeah.
All right, cool. All right, let's roll on with this week's topic.
So obviously, following on from last week, the North London derby, and Arsenal missing certain midfielders, and the main one being Martin Ødegaard. We obviously played yesterday against Atalanta, midweek Champions League game on a random Thursday, and it wasn't the best watch. Let's be honest. It wasn't the greatest game. It was we lacked that kind of creative spark. I've seen the Arsenal Twitter fan base on online are just going crazy, and they're calling him Arteta. They're saying he's Tony Pulis Part 2, and this is no better than Sam Allardyce football. I'm like, everyone calm down, man. The fan base is so reactionary. You have to realize, like, Martin Ødegaard has played pretty much every game for Arsenal for the past 2 to 3 seasons. The way he plays is very much linked to our identity. Like, he is the heartbeat of the team. Everything goes through him. Like, if I ask a random person, how do Arsenal attack? They're going to straight away, Ødegaard, Ben White, Saka. That whole right-hand triangle, like, he controls it. So when you have a creative player who influences your kind of style of play, the personality of the team, everything kind of goes through him. When he's not playing, you cannot be expecting champagne, lavish football. Right now, we are in a place where we just have to win games. Tottenham, it wasn't nice. We scumbagged the victory, set piece, we got out of there. Yesterday, Atalanta, it wasn't nice. David Raya made an unbelievable penalty save. We scumbagged the draw and got out of there. And on Sunday, if you think you're going to see champagne football, you best turn on a different channel, mate, because on Sunday, we're going to the Etihad and we're stinking that place out. I promise you. However, I'm totally fine with this, because right now, needs must. We're in a title race and we haven't got any excuses to be dropping points. We just have to find a way to win. Arteta has to find interim solutions to just get over the line. However, I am very intrigued to see when we do get past the City game and we play the lesser teams in the league, the Crystal Palace, not the Crystal Palaces. I'll probably say Leicester, Southampton, all those guys at home, where the onus is on us to take the game to them, and we're going to be camped in their half, and we're going to have more of the ball. What kind of solutions is Arteta going to bring to the table then? Because this scumbagging stuff is great when we're going away to these big teams, but when the onus is on us, we have to find a way to play. And for me, I'd like to maybe see in Ranieri integrate a little bit more, because he's the only one that naturally fits that kind of right 8-10 slot. He's played Havertz there. He played Jesus yesterday. Jesus was awful. He played Trossard there. It doesn't really quite work with Trossard in that role. So he's trying to kind of find solutions, but you know, we're going to need to find a creative solution for Ødegaard's absence, because like I said, when we're playing the smaller teams, the onus is on us. We're going to have more of the ball. We're going to need to create. We're going to need to dictate the play. We're going to need to kind of keep on probing. And right now, in the options we have, I can't see an obvious solution. So either we try and integrate Ranieri and see if he can get into the flow, or we're going to have to try and kind of, you know, change our gameplay somewhat. But yeah, I think that kind of sparks a debate in terms of, you know, creative players, you know, how influential they are and how they really do kind of dictate the identity and style of a team. What do you think about that, Rose, in terms of, you know, if I think about someone like, you know, Bruno Fernandes, how much does he dictate the personality and style of Man United?
I mean, ultimately, I think that is down to, because when you say creative players, and in the way that you built it, it seems like a synonym for number 10s, which saying a number 10 and saying creative player doesn't necessarily, not the same thing. So it's up to the coach, for example, to structure a team and create it. Not every team plays with a number 10 for a start. And with how you've described, you know, the build up that you gave Martin Ødegaard there, I feel like, well, the manager's got a responsibility then. If a team can't create without Martin Ødegaard, then what's your contingency? You can't go into a season saying that, how we, you know, we can't be expected to do X or Y without Martin Ødegaard. Okay, so therefore, we should have been mindful that if without Martin Ødegaard, what do we do? If we're so reliant, if our system, if the style of play that we've chosen is so reliant on a number 10 to link things, then where's the other one? Who's the alternative? What's the alternative? So ultimately, by the end of the season, if that is where Arsenal falls short, I don't think that will be a sufficient excuse for Arteta or Arsenal, because I just think that, you know, it still speaks to poor planning. If they're unable to create a sufficient amount of chances or whatever, what have you, in the absence of Ødegaard, you know. So, but you know, as far as I'm more a fan of, I mean, look, creativity. We have to find ways to create. For years, Liverpool have done it without an orthodox number 10. Since Coutinho left, you know, Alexander Arnold creates as many chances as Martin Ødegaard, probably, without looking at stats. You know, I've mentioned before, Newcastle last season, they seem to be scoring 5 goals every week, as far as I was aware. As far as I can see, they play with no number 10. You know, it's up to Arteta really to get the best out of the team. I mean, you mentioned Manchester United. Obviously, Bruno Fernandes is our creator in chief, I would say, and for sure, when he's not around, the creativity falls significantly. But I'm not a fan of that. I don't believe a team should be built with okay, and you're the person that does the creating.
I agree.
That's not a creative football team.
No,
a team has to be a creative team in your patterns, in your movement. You know, you can't be expected to create chances by playing defense splitting 30-yard passes. It needs to be created by assists don't need to be spectacular. They should be obvious. They should be easy by just passing to the person in space. So by the time you've maneuvered a situation where the man over, whether it's Ben White coming on the overlap, anybody should be able to play that pass. But it's the organization that creates the chances, basically. And of course, I appreciate some players have more flair, you know, than others, and I'm not diminishing Ødegaard's ability, but I think that for a team that's trying to win the major trophies, they need to find a way. They need to find a way. I mean, Real Madrid, who won all the major trophies last season, did it without a number 9. The season before, they did it with a number 9. Then Benzema left. They found a way to make excuses. It was like, okay, as a team, we still need to score goals. We still need to score goals. And I think that's the ultimate test, I think, you know, for Arsenal. How do they cope with the absence of Ødegaard? Can they still create chances? at the volume that they need to. And to be honest, I'm not so pessimistic about Arsenal's chances. I do think that as a unit, that they're a creative unit. I mean, as an individual, Ødegaard, you know, they don't really have one like him. But just watching how they play with the movement, the third man runners and stuff, I still believe that they will get enough chances. I think they'll get enough chances. I think they'll be all right. But you are right in the sense that I think their approach is going to have to be a bit more pragmatic than normal. Marino is also injured. That's one of the problems as well with the middle, because Marino can contribute going forward. His party Jorginho access, you're not going to get too much out of that, and that's the issue, because the Ødegaard issue is exacerbated by the absence of Marino. So it's not just about, okay, we just got such a terrible midfield and only Ødegaard can create. It's the fact that both of them, I guess, are unavailable. I think Marino could give them a little bit more. Even Declan Rice going forward can contribute, you know, proactively in terms of ball carrying and things like that. So maybe that's the issue, obviously, in the North London derby, with him not being available. You know, he can get the ball, can run with it, and then when you run with it, you go past the player, it opens things up. So
you know, I was going to say, and I think it goes to the point in terms of, I think Arteta did identify that we were a bit one-dimensional and predictable with that whole kind of right axis with Ødegaard, White and Saka. That's obviously why Moreno was brought in to kind of activate the left-hand side a little bit more and help with those kind of, you know, cutting through decisive pass, etc. But it's just a shame that obviously he's injured and now Ødegaard's got injured. Indeed. So now we need to try and find some kind of solution going forward.
I mean, and just to speak on number 10s in general, I mean, number 10s, you know, me growing up watching football, number 10s have had different cycles within the game. There was a period where they were, I'll say early on, maybe in English football, in my time, maybe in the 90s, they were referred to commonly as what they call luxury players. You know, most teams didn't have one. We played 4-4-2. Slight evolution came as the top teams went into Europe. They started getting undone by number 10s, people getting into these pockets that they couldn't deal with. The 4-4-2 was not really equipped because there's you got one person sitting behind that too. There was some slight adjustments. You started to play the whole big man, little man thing. So you had something of a number 10, a 9.5. So let's say you have Teddy Sheringham playing, for example, at United. And then now it's evolved. It had a spell where it evolved more. But I don't know, right now, like I feel like in the last sort of 10 years, the number 10 there's been more required of the number 10 now in terms of pure midfield work. So Ødegaard is one of the few that's able to kind of do it. But a lot of the older number 10s, the classic number 10, so let's say compared to say Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil, there's no space for him in at the elite, at the very, very top of the game today. So you would have somebody who the number 10 has been replaced often, if you like, by what if he's right-footed? You say like the left centre midfielder. And often they're playing now in that sort of role in, let's say, a double A. And you know,
Ødegaard's not really a 10 as well. Like he's more of a double A. He's a right side 8, really, yeah.
Indeed. So that is like, it's been the evolution of the role as well. But you know, just to make another point about Arsenal in terms of Plan B, one of the things that it's not just about the absence of Marino. The issue about a lack of Plan B is also related to the absence of a centre forward. So a traditional centre forward gives Arsenal different options. So let's say, for example, that they bought Victor Osimhen, one of the names that they were touted with, or Ivan Toney, for example. Plan B could be crossing the ball into the box, but they don't have that option either. So that is part of the one-dimensional construction of the team. It's not just they haven't got another number 10 so they can come in and play the exact same way. Can you play a different way as well? Basically, where's the number 9? So do you know what I mean? The lack of number 9, you know, I got you on that. I was already thinking one step ahead of you, right? But the lack of the traditional number 9 in the Arsenal team is basically one of their issues here. So, you know, and that brings us to the conversation about number 9s in general. I feel like they should have got one in the summer. And I was, you know, speaking on the football forum that I speak on, and throughout the summer, I asked so many times, why are Arsenal not trying to get Jhon Durán? Jhon Durán was seemingly available for about £40 million in the summer. Chelsea had a look. I don't know why they didn't do the deal. They did it about just about every other deal going. 40 million is not prohibitive to me for Durán. West Ham wanted to do that deal. A much better deal for them than Fulkrug. That would have taken West Ham's team to a different level. They put some great pieces together at the puzzle. You had West Ham, you had Chelsea were looking at him, and I was there thinking Arsenal should go for him. Man United, my boys, I knew that they didn't really. Once we got Xerxes, we went in early on Xerxes. I knew that when they was talking about us, I was saying on the forum, they kept saying, United might still look for another striker, looking at Ivan Toney. I thought, well, listen, if they're trying to go back in for a number 9, we have to go for Durán. Durán's a player that impressed me pretty much the first time I saw him. I think the first time he came to my attention, he didn't even score a goal. It was about a year ago, I think maybe at Villa Park against City. He came off the bench, got a chance, took it on his chest, smacked it on his left foot, came off the bar. And I stood back and I just thought, who's this? Like, this guy's got some real. For me, one of the main things that I look for in a striker is confidence. Yeah, self-belief. You really need a level of almost arrogant level of self-belief. That's what's going to make you. You need that. That's what gives you composure. That's what gives you certainty. If without that, you snatch.
And that's what Havertz lacks. That's what he lacks. Like. Big time.
You need that self-belief. And when I see that as one of the things, when I watch young players play, one of the first things that catch my eye is, okay, not did he score, but how he almost believes that he's going to score. Because all of them are forwards. You take them to the park, no pressure. They can all put the ball in the bottom corner. Like, they can all do it. But basically, I thought people don't really do that to see. They don't. A lot of teams we've mentioned in the last episode, too fearful. And this is a young kid that's come in. And the way that the aggression that he was showing in his play, it caught my attention immediately. And I've been watching it. When he came on against Young Boys in midweek as well, he came on. He was not apologetic. Because trust me, I can see. I watched enough football. I can tell this guy came on to score. He came on to score, and I intend to score. And if I don't score, I'm going to be disappointed. And it was clear in his movements. And then he scored one that got disallowed. Absolutely brilliant finish. Brilliant finish. Was disallowed for a handball that was should never have been disallowed. The handball was back several phases back in the play, basically in the Villa's own half. He ended up scoring in just outside the box, I think, or just around the 18-yard line. Beautiful finish.
And Rose, sorry to cut you off, but this goes nicely into what we discussed last week, right? In terms of what I was talking about body language. Like, you can there's just certain things, like I said, when Arsenal go to the Etihad, I'm more keen. Do I care about the result? Of course I do. I don't want to be 5 points behind, but I'm more keen to see what our body language is.
Do you mean it? Huh? Do you mean it? Like, do you mean it?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Do you man actually believe you can win here? Like, or you're gonna just cower and just say, City, please. That's what I'm more interested to see, the body language. Do these man actually? I don't care about Declan Rice's interviews. Everyone can talk in front of a camera. Show me when you're in the cauldron and all these men are chasing you down, bro. Are you going to keep your composure, bruv? Do you mean it, bruv? So, yeah, that's a great point on body language. You can just see it sometimes.
Even with the goal that Durán has scored last week against, who was it? Everton, I think it was.
Banger, bro.
But again, you don't score that even if you don't mean it. Like, if you don't even fancy or for me, I've been watching Durán, like I said, for about a year, and I think he's going to the very top. I'm talking, I think that he's like Real Madrid level in a couple of years. I think that's where he will probably end up. And one of the main reasons why I see that is he seems to have this arrogance that's going to take him far. He's going to score a lot of goals. He already scores a lot of goals. And I couldn't believe that Villa were even considering entertaining any offers in the summer. As crazy as it sounds, if it came down to it, I was thinking, I said it a number of times on the forum in the summer. I said, listen, I will cash in on Watkins for 80 million or something and keep Durán. If there's no way that they should be trying to sell Durán at 20 years old for 40 million, Watkins is 28, 29 now. If it really came down to it, I think this kid is ready. If I had to let one of them go, that might be the right time to make that move. Not that they should be looking to get rid of Watkins, but if it was down to pressure on finances or something like that. Basically, in top level football, you don't let a 20-year-old potential world-class number 9 go. You don't. If you've got one of those in your hands, you need to get hold of them, or you need to cash in for big money. So for me, I think that he might be, of the young generation, the last real number 9, potential top level number 9 that I can say. I think he's the best young centre forward in the Premier League anyway. I'll say that much. So
I hear that, bro. Let's see how
I think that Arsenal, they might have missed their chance to get him at a knockdown price, but if the Watkins situation still remains, then there's always going to be the possibility that he's going to want more than that. And that's part of the arrogance and the confidence that he has, because I don't think that he's going to be content with, like, he, by all accounts, wanted to move as well. He's not here to be a substitute.
And I think as well with Durán, I think why he doesn't get as much PR as he should be. I swear he came from the MLS, right? They bought him from
the MLS. He came for a decent amount of money, for about 20 million.
The MLS, no one's taking it seriously. He's like, the guy from the American League. I think that's what does him a disservice. Like, people don't really say his name much, but every time he's coming on, he's making an impact. So he's doing.
Even last season, came on, scored against City at the Etihad. I think he scored twice against City. I've seen him score, and it just shows that he's got a pair, basically. He did he not score against Arsenal off the bench earlier this season?
No. It was 1-0.
It was 1-0.
He had a decent chance though. He had a decent chance
against someone else then. But basically, his goal scoring record, goals per minute since he joined Villa last season, this season, top quality. So I can only see him going from strength to strength.
Right, Jhon Durán, one to watch. With that said, just keeping one eye on time. Let's roll on with this week's bets. If you want to take the floor today,
I can kick it off. I don't know if you want to share the screen because it's going to take too long to do that, man. Going one by one. So I'll just kind of tell you what I'm doing, and then we'll just
if you don't, send me a screenshot and I'll see if there's a way we can. Let me send
you a screenshot now. Let me send you a screenshot.
Yeah, or do it afterwards.
Okay, cool.
I'll see if I can put it up on the screen somehow.
Cool. So what I've done is I've gone for the 6 games of the Premier League on Saturday, and as I mentioned, I'm exploring more and more with these fouls. And this time it's not going to be a foul in the first time. It's just going to be one foul for a certain player. So I've gone for 3 players in each game. The first game is West Ham against Chelsea. So I've gone for Wesley Fofana to foul, Cucurella to foul once, and Guido Rodriguez to foul once. So just those 3 players. Then Aston Villa game against Wolves. I've gone for Tillemans, Rhett Nori, and Cunha. And also this week, I think something that me and Rose discussed a few weeks back, I'm mixing it up with midfielders, defenders, but also putting the attackers in there, because these attackers be just pushing guys over, dragging them off, go for a header, hit someone's elbow in the face. So I'm trying to get all them scraps right now. So yeah. And then Fulham Newcastle, I've gone for Antoine Robinson, Adama Traore. He's going to drag someone down when he runs past him 100%. And then Bruno Guimaraes. Liverpool game against Bournemouth, I've gone Szoboszlai, Lewis Cook, and Milos Kerkez. And then Leicester Everton, I've gone for Jordan Ayew, top fouler, Walt Fowles, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, going to definitely foul. And then Tottenham Brentford, I've gone for Romero, Vitaly Janelt, and Dominic Solanke, so another striker. And then finally, I've gone for Crystal Palace Man United. I've gone for Mateta, going to be definitely fouling, Mazwari, and Kobe Mainoo. So I've put £10 on that, and you get 9,400 back. So it's a 6-4
first half bets.
No. Just one foul. Just one foul. Okay. And also as well, it's got the super sub feature. So you're in it for 90 minutes. So if someone gets taken off, whoever comes on, if they foul, it still counts. So you're covered for the 90 minutes.
Unless they don't start.
Yeah, it's true. If you don't start, then it'll be weighted.
You've already
go down, so it's cool.
Okay.
It's a good bet, solid bet.
Well, I like the sound of that. I like the sound of that. Obviously we never know what's going to happen, but anybody can make a foul. As you mentioned, I'm a big, in terms of from a perspective of odds. I mean, centre midfielders, fullbacks always have the big odds, but I do like centre forwards. Centre forwards are always getting penalised, because if you don't get penalised, you get a lot of advantages, and that it's easier for defenders to win fouls than other players. So I think forwards are good shouts. I like that. I'll move into one of my slips for the weekend. So I've done an 8-fold. Sticking with my same formula. Which is basically a combination of match results and handicap match results. So starting on 3 o'clock, I've gone for Barnsley to beat Burton Albion. Barnsley, should have a point to prove. I'd like to think, after they were, disciplined in the week at Old Trafford. But frankly, they're in the top. They're looking to fight for the top 6. They're 7th, I believe, in the league. Burton Albion and they're the bottom. Barnsley win more games than Burton Albion, so basically, there's not really too much rocket science behind that one. Staying in League One, I've gone for Huddersfield -1 against Northampton. Huddersfield flying in League One at the moment, winning games comfortably. Near the top of the table, they're 4th at the moment. They won their last game 4-0. They won 4 out of their last 5 games in the league. Northampton, struggling in comparison. So I've gone for Huddersfield -1. I've gone for Wrexham -1 against Crawley. Shout out to Wrexham. Come straight from League 2 to League 1, getting straight to business, top of the league. Haven't wasted any time adapting. Winning games, and this Hollywood story goes on and on. Basically, Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney seem to be taking them, from strength to strength. So yeah, I've gone for Wrexham at home. There's a real atmosphere, carnival atmosphere every home game, and yeah, I back them to beat Crawley by more than 1 goal. Similarly, Stockport County, another promoted team, came up from League 2 very impressively. This one hurts me, but I've gone for them to beat Leyton Orient by more than 1 goal. Leyton Orient do tend to struggle away. Stockport scoring goals. They got Louis Barry on fire. Barry came from Villa, previously at Barcelona. Basically, big talent, and he's scoring a lot of goals. So they're winning games. They've not lost in their last 5 games. Leyton Orient have lost 4 of their last 5 games, and they're away to Stockport. So I'll back Stockport -1. Going to League 2, I've got Crewe Alexandra to beat Harrogate, just a match result that is. Crewe have won 3 on the bounce. Harrogate have lost 2 of their last 3. So and Crewe at home. So I'm hopeful. After that, I've gone to Cyprus. Yes, down there, Rex. So basically, yeah, I mean, this one is a fair sort of I wouldn't say a banker, because you never know in football, but it is a straightforward one. I've gone for Ammonia Nicosia, one of the strongest teams out there. They won 4 out of their last 5. I've gone for them to beat Anathosis by more than 1 goal. Ammonia are away from home, so makes it a little bit more difficult. But I think that they're still favourites to win the game. Gone to Spain after that. Valencia Girona. I've gone for Girona to beat Valencia away from home, which that's Valencia can always win a game, but they've been struggling. They've lost 4 out of their last 5. Girona, they still look like they're picking up from where they left off last season. From what I see, not quite as strong, but they're winning a few games and they're still playing well. They did well away in Paris in midweek. Won 2 out of their last 3 games. So I backed them to beat Valencia. And the final one is in Greece, which is Olympiakos to beat Aris Thessaloniki by more than 1 goal. Again, Olympiakos, strongest team in that league by far. So yeah, that's my bet.
Okay, so how much? What's the odds on that? Sorry.
So the whole odds on that bet is 873 to 1. I put £10 on that. That returns 8,742.
Decent, healthy odds. If you send me the slip, or we can, if we don't put the slip in the episode, because it might be difficult with the screen thing, post it on the Twitter so people follow us on the Twitter. Post both of them on Twitter, and people will be able to see.
Skybet they're not as user friendly with regards to sharing bets. Like, you're gonna have to take a screenshot, which is gonna cut off half and take 2 screenshots basically. Unlike other platforms where you can just share the bet as a whole image.
Yeah, then to make that a bit better. But with that, then we'll wrap up the episode. Any closing remarks?
Yeah, man. Let's see how this week goes. When I'm just trialing, like I said, I'm just getting stuck into these files, just finding seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, seeing what players are doing on a consistent basis. And yeah, like I said, it's week 2 of trialing this, so just consistency, and we'll see where we are mid October, man. We'll check in again, but same every week, man. Same thing, man, for sure.
Yeah, on we go. I'm sticking to my formula. It seems to be, It's going not too bad. I'm still hanging in with one bet, as I said, from midweek. So yeah, let's win something this weekend. Let's go.
All right, let's go, lads. All right, until next week. Peace.